Hey guys, so I'm going to try and teach you how to single crochet. So if you hopefully watched some of the other videos, there's how to do a starter knot and there's how to chain. Knowing how to chain is really important because pretty much single crochet just builds on that. It's doing chaining but through stitches. So I have here, I already did a little bit of chaining. So I always like to tell my students, it's like they're like V's stacked on top of one another. Each of those is a stitch. What's really important, I find sometimes people don't learn the right way. When you are putting your hook through a stitch, you want to make sure you're getting both sides of those V's. If you don't, you're going to have like this rib-like effect. And there's actually stitches called BLO and FLO, back loop only, front loop only, that you only pick one part of the stitch. But for most crochet, unless it says BLO or FLO, you want both parts of the stitch. And I find that I've had a couple of people who have been taught the wrong way, and then they have like, or they just were trying to teach themselves and they didn't understand. So I think this is really important to know. You want to get both parts of the stitch. So here I have my chaining, right? And I am going to usually, the pattern will tell you to skip the chain that's closest to the hook, right? So you have your loop and then the chain, which is these two pieces that are closest to the hook. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to put my hook in this next part, that second V down. Okay, and I'm going to put my hook. So I sometimes teach my students to do like a scoop and push. So I'll scoop the one part of the V that's closest to me, and then I will push my hook through the other part. Let me see if I can get the angle of the camera a little bit better for you guys. And then once you have that, you're gonna notice you have two parts, both parts of the V on top of the hook, plus your loop. So there's like 3 parts of yarn going across your hook. You are going to grab the yarn that you are holding and pull it so that the yarn that you grabbed is coming through that V, those first 2 parts of yarn going across your hook. Not the loop also though, just those first 2 parts. So you're gonna grab that yarn and you're gonna pull it through and pull up. And now you're gonna have 2 parts of the yarn coming across your hook. And you're gonna do that one more time, grab the yarn with your hook, and now you're gonna pull it through both of those pieces. And now you just have the one. And that is a single crochet. And then you're going to go to that very next V that's right here, and you're gonna do it again. You're going to scoop from one side and push through the other so that again you have both parts, and then the loop that was originally on there. You're gonna grab the yarn with your hook, and I kind of turn it as I'm coming through so that it doesn't get stuck. So as I'm pulling through, I slightly turn it so that the hook can come through. And then I have the 2 pieces here. I'm gonna grab it one more time and pull it through. Again, notice here I didn't turn because I was looking at the camera, but if I turn slightly, then it's gonna be able to more easily come through. And you're gonna notice when you do your single crochet, you're gonna have those V's again. Those are gonna be your stitches for your next round, but you kind of see that it's more like puffed up, right? And then you have the flatter part, that's the chain, and then over here you see the more puffed up part. That's where you did the single crochets. And so I'll keep going to my next V. Again, that starter, I don't usually do the grab and pull through once I'm done with my like initial set of single crochets into the chain, because then there's like usually more space. But here again, I go through the stitch, I grab, pull up, grab, pull through. And this is the basis of pretty much all crochet, single crochet. There's stitches called double crochet, treble crochet, but really they're using the same movement that you're doing here, just maybe with doing a couple of little things differently. Now, when you get to the end, a lot of times, now again, this isn't for the meat pattern. This is just kind of learning how to crochet, because it's important to be really comfortable with single crochet before you move on to the next steps, because once you have to start doing it in a circle, it is a little bit harder, especially if you're not used to seeing the stitches. But here I've made it to the end. Here is my row of single crochet. Now I'm going to want to go back the other way. So I will just chain one. Again, chaining is just grabbing the yarn, pulling it through the loop on the hook. That gives me a little bit of height so that I can now move to the next row. Now notice when I go through the stitch, it's so much easier. I don't have to do that scoop and push. There's more space there. And then I can just go through, grab the yarn. Again, notice I turn it a little so that it doesn't get stuck. I pull it up, there's 2 loops, grab, pull through again. And I'm gonna keep going now back the other way, then through the stitch. Again, notice there's still those 2 pieces across, and then my loop. I grab the yarn from the other side, I pull it up, and then I grab and pull through. So that's